everyone. Welcome back to the Coaches from the Couch podcast, where we like to talk sports, play games, and do our best to have a good time. We're going to be talking some NBA today. Most recently, we have Kyle Kuzma and Draymond Green, who have both declined their player options. Do you have anything to say about that, Carson?
Yeah, so Draymond turned down it was like 27 million something and some change, obviously. But like one thing that surprises me about Draymond declining that is like that's a lot of money, and I don't know if he's going to get that elsewhere. So I don't know if he's going elsewhere for a ring chase, but I really do see him going back to Golden State and just taking a pay cut. The reason for that is because he is that type of player. He's a team player, and I think that's what he's doing for Golden State because they have done so much for him. And so I think he returns to Golden State on a cheaper deal and a multi-year deal, and their legacy still continues.
Yeah, I really like that by Draymond. I've voiced my opinion on Draymond a couple times on this podcast. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I have to respect how he is a team player. I think we all know 27 million is way too much to be paying Draymond Green,
For sure,
and I'm
for
glad that
sure.
he has that humility to realize he's not worth that much and take a pay cut. And he's probably going to return to his team, which I think is good.
Yeah, and then so 20 minutes ago we had Kyle Kuzma declined a $13 million player option from the Wizards, so he will become a free agent. Kyle Kuzma has been on the market for the Indiana Pacers and the Houston Rockets as of right now, and then obviously there's a chance he returns back to the Wizards. Um, Kyle Kuzma is a young talent. I mean, he's 6'10". He's kind of one of those guys that's like, that Brandon Miller like type body. So it's like he has a good frame and he has games where he is a very good player. But there's also games where he's like, oh, that's Kyle Kuzma for you. But I think for the Pacers' sake, I mean, if you can get him, I don't know if I'd want to pay 17 million for Kyle Kuzma with the assets you already have. But like if you can get him cheaper than 17 million, especially a bench piece in free agency, coming off the bench playing heavy minutes, I think Kyle Kuzma is a great fit for the Pacers. But I don't want to overpay for a guy like Kyle Kuzma off the bench because I don't want him as a starter, me personally. Um, and then I think a perfect fit for him would be the Houston Rockets. They have a lot of money, and I think they're going to go out and spend a lot of money getting their team set with all these young talent. And I think he does go to Houston. I really do. I think he does go to Houston. I think he's a good fit there.
Well, I definitely think he's on his way out at the right time. I certainly wouldn't want to play for the Washington Wizards as
No,
they just let go of Bradley Beal. They got Chris Paul coming in, but who knows if he's going to stick around. They're not looking like they're going to be a very good team. If I got drafted by the Wizards, I'd probably say, I think I'm just going to go back to school. That's probably what
exactly,
I'd say.
exactly.
Um, but I do agree with you. Kuzma could be a really, really good bench piece. I don't know if I'd want him starting
Hmm.
because he's not the greatest defender in the world. He can be a bit of a streaky shooter, but he could definitely provide a great spark off the bench for some teams. I don't know if the Rockets would be the best fit though, especially since he's wanting out of Washington. I feel like the Rockets are kind of a similar situation. Maybe you have faith in Ime Udoka to turn that team around, but I would think he'd want to go to a little bit better of a team.
Yeah, and then there's also been rumors of him actually going back to LA with teaming up back up with LeBron, and obviously that's not a bad idea either. But I don't know where they're going to get their money from. You know what I mean? He's going to have to take a significant pay cut from 17 million because they got guys like Austin Reeves, he might be coming back, and he's going to obviously have a big contract. D'Angelo Russell, same situation. AD, LeBron, obviously. So that is a another team I possibly heard. What do you think about him going to the Lakers?
Yeah, like you said, I don't know if they have the money for that, but I'm sure LeBron would love to have some extra offense around him so he doesn't have to just basically kill himself every game, be dead tired, and with AD getting hurt so much. I think Kuzma would be a good guy to have
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes, so with Jake sitting out down in is he Florida
I thought he joined the circus.
during the circus. Well, anyway, he's down on the beach somewhere,
Mm.
and so while he's out down at the beach, I think we're gonna do a NBA draft, right? A nice
Yeah,
little
that's the more important thing going on this week. Thursday,
Thursday.
right? Yeah.
Thursday, yep.
What do you kind of think about the NBA draft?
So overall, the NBA draft, I think this has a really good potential to be a really good draft. One of the best ones we've seen in quite some time. I think there's a lot of talent in this draft. Obviously, with the first three picks, I think there's a lot of like, holy cow, like these guys. I feel like they're already like for sure guys. I mean, look at Victor Wembanyama. Like, I mean, he's like that type of player. Even if he doesn't pan out, he can at least be a solid Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? Because just with his size. And then Brandon Miller, I think he's kind of the same thing. He can turn into a defensive minded player if his offensive ability doesn't come. And I mean, he'll be just fine because he's 6'9", 6'10", long. And then Scoot Henderson, we've already seen him. He is literally, he reminds me so much of an athletic Drew Holiday. I mean, he is built like a horse. I mean, that dude, that dude's gonna be good. So I think those top three already show that how powerful this draft can be. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in comparison to past draft classes, like for example the COVID class, whatever year that was, 2020,
Mm-hmm.
where you had like Anthony Edwards, Lamelo Ball, and then outside of those prospects, you're like, I don't really know what we have here. I think at least the top three are guys that could have went number one in different draft classes,
For
and you
sure.
have guys like Cam Whitmore, um, that have all the potential in the world to be certainly probably the second best player in the draft class as well when it's all said and done. So yeah, I think it's a really talented class, and we're filming this on Tuesday, so I'm sure a lot's about to happen. After this episode comes out, probably we're gonna get a lot wrong, but I think we would like to do a mock draft.
I am down. That is our game today, right?
That is, um, will be nice. Actually, no, we won't be nice. I'll give myself the number one pick because I want a for sure thing.
Okay, you can have it. So, you want to explain how this is going to go down so they know?
Yeah, since I have the number one pick, we'll probably just go back and forth. Does that sound good?
Sounds good with me.
I'll take the odds, you take the evens. Just go
Okay.
back and forth. We're just gonna do the lottery. Um,
So do you have the teams like on your mind? If not, I can say it so they
yeah, I
know.
have the teams written down for the lottery.
Okay.
We're not putting trades into this
Yeah.
because
No
that
trades.
just adds too much, I think.
No trades, and then we'll say if you guys don't know, the lottery is 1 through 14. So we will go through that, and we'll say the team and the player. Obviously, this, like we said, this is probably going to change with trades and all that being said. So go ahead and go.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot wrong.
Yeah.
So, um,
I bet you get the number one right.
yeah, I think we've known who the number one pick was gonna be for like the past year. With the number one pick, I'm taking Drew Timmy.
Do Timmy.
Just kidding. I'm taking Victor Wembanyama, the 7'3", absolute generational talent. I don't know if we've ever seen a player like this come into the NBA. I mean, just ridiculous. Yeah, I'll pass it on to you for number two. That's the obvious one, the one pick.
Okay, with the Charlotte Hornets, I'm gonna go with Brandon Miller from Alabama. I think he is the easiest like the number two pick. I think he should easily be the number two pick. With his frame, he has an NBA body. Uh, the dude showed out in college basketball. I think if without centers in college basketball, he would have won the Player of the Year. But centers are so overpowered in college because of no defense of 3 seconds. So I say Brandon Miller will go number two to the Hornets.
Well, I have the Portland pick at number three, and I'm sure they are just rubbing their hands together, knowing that Scoot Henderson is still available at three. So I have to go Scoot Henderson, and you'd likely think that with that pick, Damian Lillard would probably be on the way out. But I personally like that direction for Portland. I'm taking Scoot Henderson, the man built like a linebacker. I think he could be the future of the league.
Okay, and so that was Portland, and then so number four is Houston, and with number four pick, I'm going to say they're going to take Cam Whitmore from Villanova. I think they're going to take Cam Whitmore because they already have Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. So I think they will try to get that 3-4 guy to fill that spot, and I think they go Cam Whitmore from Villanova.
That's an interesting pick. I've seen him falling all the way as far as 10, so that's pretty high, but I actually really like Cam Whitmore. I think he played in kind of a slow offense at Villanova. I think a faster paced game like the NBA would be better for him. He
I
has a
agree.
lot of potential.
I agree.
But with that being said, I have the five pick at Detroit, which I'm sure they had their eyes on Cam Whitmore. But I think arguably the better player falls to them at five. Amon Thompson, is who I'm going to take. Really great athlete, great distributor. The jump shot's coming, but he looks to be a really, really great player running the point guard position. They kind of have a lot of guards there already, but I just think you have to take best player available. That could possibly be a trade spot if the draft was to unfold like this.
Yes, and then so at number 6 we have Orlando Magic, and Magic are obviously pretty set at the big man with Paulo and Wagner. They've drafted there a lot in the past couple of years, so I think they're going to go guard, and I think they're going to go Thompson's brother, and I think they go, is it Asar
Asar Thompson.
Asar Thompson? So I'm going to say they take Asar Thompson.
That's an interesting pick. Well, I would love for that for the Indiana Pacers because that means they have their choice. If they stick and pick at number 7, I think they would love to get either Hendricks or Jarris Walker from Houston. And I think they will, if they have the choice between those two, I think they would go with Taylor Hendricks. He's a little bit taller, probably the more versatile defender. He can shoot. Yeah, I think that's the clear number 7 pick if that's who falls.
Yeah, and like you said, there's no trades in this. I think the Pacers are going to trade, but with no trades, yes, I totally agree with that pick. And number 8 is Washington. With Washington, I have them taking Anthony Black from Arkansas. I think Anthony Black is I mean, I talked about him a couple weeks ago. I thought he was a sleeper in this NBA draft. I think he can be a really good player in this league. And with them losing Bradley Beal, losing, most likely they're going to get rid of Chris Paul. They need guards, and I think he can run that tall point guard, shooting guard role, combo guard. I think Anthony Black is a no-brainer for
Yeah, that's who I wanted to take with my pick, but unfortunately he sniped me.
them.
So I guess I'm going to go with another guard. This might be a little bit of a reach, but I'm going to go with Anthony Black's teammate, Nick Smith, just to give them a little bit more guard play. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that pick, but that's who I'm taking.
Okay, so with let's see here. You said that was Utah, right?
Yes.
9 was Utah. So 10 is Dallas. 10. I had Dallas taking Jarris Walker. Sorry, from Houston. I think this is for him to slip that far back. I
Yeah.
think they would be licking their chops on this. I think Jarris Walker at 10 is a steal. So I think if this does happen, Dallas will be happy, and Jarris Walker is a no-brainer for them as well. I think.
Yeah, that would be crazy if he falls at 10. I don't think he makes it past pick 7, in my opinion, in the actual NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of how this draft unfolded, it didn't really make sense
Yeah.
for Utah to take him with all their forwards and bigs that they have. So I had them taking a guard. But what does that leave me with? Pick 11?
Mm-hmm.
At pick 11, if I'm Orlando, I'm thinking probably best player available. You already took a guard. Like you said, they have so many big bodies on their team. I don't really think they need any more of that. So I'm going to take a scorer who's also still pretty big, but Grady Dick from Kansas. Great shooter, good size, really fluid player. I think he could be a great player at the next level. We'll see how he develops. I can't wait to see.
And that was pick 11.
Yeah.
And so pick 12 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder, they are kind of like, they kind of need a little bit of everything still, but they're up and coming. SGA played out really well. And I think it's kind of one of those things that they have been known to take the foreigners. So I think they're going to take the dude from France. Not even going to try to say it. You know how to say his name?
Bilal Kula. I don't know how to say it.
Exactly.
His name is Bilal.
Yeah,
He played
Bilal.
with Victor.
And he's from France. So I think they go with this dude, best player available, and I think they take him. And he is a 3-4. He can run in shooting guard, small forward, power forward. I think it fits them well with SGA at that combo guard and Jalen Williams at that 2 spot. I think this is a good pick for them.
Sniped me again. That was my best available. But if I'm the Toronto Raptors at pick 13, I know they love their defensive guys and they could use some more guard play, so I'm going to give them an absolute dog who I got to watch play for Kentucky this year. I think he's more of a 2 in my opinion, but he played the 1 for Kentucky. He's a combo guard. Casey Wallace. He'll get you some steals just like Scotty Barnes will. I think he could really develop his shot creating. I think he has potential there. And I'd be happy with that at 13 if I was a Raptors fan.
And then 14, we have with the last pick of the lottery, we have the Pelicans. I have the Pelicans taking another one of my big sleepers from a couple weeks ago, and this was my biggest sleeper of the draft, and it's Jalen Hood-Schifino. Jalen Hood-Schifino, I could go all day about this dude. I think he is an NBA prospect written all over him. I think he's a perfect fit for the New Orleans Pelicans, can fit right in with CJ McCollum, and I think Jalen Hood-Schifino goes 14 to the Pelicans.
That's who I had mocked for them as well. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino is really flying up the draft boards. Teams are starting to realize just how smooth he is as a player. And yeah, I think he could make it into the lottery for sure.
Yes, so that wraps up our NBA draft lottery. And so, like we said, this is not most likely going to be right because of all the trades that's going to happen after this. Most of these teams have already said that they've looked at trading up, trading back, trading out. So we will see how we play, but most likely this will not be correct.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, now we're getting into some college basketball, which we haven't talked about for a little bit, but we have some interesting news. I hate to start out on a negative note, but big news in college basketball is Bob Huggins has made another mistake. Unfortunately, he got a DUI, and he is out, right, as the West Virginia coach. What do you think about that, Carson?
Yes, so Bob Huggins, obviously he's a Hall of Fame coach. That's going to hurt West Virginia's basketball program. Maybe it's going to hurt him a lot this year, but even down the road, it's going to hurt him. Obviously, with how he recruits and how he gets dogs on that team. So West Virginia basketball is going to be probably down for a couple of years. But I don't think it's like West Virginia hasn't been the same for a little bit. Like they haven't been like amazing for a while. So I think if for basketball's sake, it's not the worst thing probably for West Virginia. But for Bob Huggins, it does hurt because obviously that probably ends his coaching career. He was already getting up there in age, but he is. I don't know if this will hurt his Hall of Fame legacy, but he is a Hall of Fame coach. If he even if it isn't if he can't get in because of this, but he is a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts his legacy as a coach, but definitely as a person, definitely have to raise some eyebrows at him. I think that's his second DUI he's
Yeah, it
had
is.
um, within recent years. I think maybe in the last year he's probably had two.
Oh wow.
Um, Not good. You really hate to see anything like that. Kind of like Henry Ruggs. Just anytime a fun player or a fun coach or anything um, does something bad, it's not good to see. I hate to see it, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, these things happen every day.
Yeah, so now with West Virginia's coaching job coming open, there's a couple coaches out there that obviously had their name in. Um, that's like free agent and coaches, and so I was just wrote down some that I thought would be good fits for West Virginia, and I think Indiana boy Tom Crean would be a good fit for West Virginia. I think Tom Crean would be pretty cool to go to West Virginia. I think he'd be that's the ACC Big East ACC.
They're Big 12, I thought.
Are they Big 12?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, they're Big 12. I know they're a big conference, but anyway, I think Tom Crean would be a good fit there. Mike Anderson from St. John's, I think he'd be a good fit there because those are two veteran coaches that's been in the system a while. But if they want to go young, maybe they get somebody off the staff right behind that was in Huggins' coaching staff. But is there any guys off your mind that you think would fit well at West Virginia?
I have no idea. I can't lie to you. I do not keep up with college basketball coaches that much. Outside of like the blue blood coaches
Well,
like Cal and all them.
Well, speaking of blue blood, then let's get into that. So since we've talked about college basketball, Kentucky's number one center, he hurt his foot in practice, and he is out 4 to 6 months, I believe. Yeah, 4 to 6 months, and so that leaves Kentucky with at the time it left us with 6 players, but active. But we did get a recruit from Joey Hart. He's from Indiana. He was actually he was a decommit from UCF. He's a 3-star. I think that was a good pickup just to get some bodies on our team. He's young, can shoot. But so yeah, Kentucky's looking at right now. We have one big man on our roster, and it's Ugonna Kingsley. So I don't know if we're looking transfers again for big men, or I know we have a recruit that we're looking at still that might reclassify. But that is pretty much all I'm hearing from big man's sake. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I'm starting to get really concerned about this team, with Aaron Bradshaw likely to miss the beginning of the season, and foot injuries for big men especially tend to linger. They often come back to bite you later on in the season at some point. So hopefully he fully heals, but it's not looking good. Because I really thought, we talked about 2 weeks ago, we thought Kentucky was going to go out and get a couple guys in the transfer portal, and we still are really just all freshmen. We don't have any proven experience at all. I think anybody knows freshmen usually don't get it done when it matters most. They're just too young. You can't have 23, 24-year-olds facing 18-year-olds and expect it to be a good outcome.
Yeah. And so, just to kind of bounce off for some good news for Kentucky. So I saw a tweet this from from analysis from the Sea of Blue, I believe, is it? And it's somehow drawn in with Kentucky, and they said that on the number list, they ordered the jersey numbers. They did get a number for Antonio Reeves. So that is from a guy from the Sea of Blue. I saw that on Twitter. So for Kentucky fans, that can be somewhat exciting. Hopefully, that does not mean anything, I guess, at the same time until it's officially uh, happens. But he also did enroll at Illinois State, where he originally started school. So that is a weird little situation. But I'm just glad. Hey, that all I know is there's a chance he comes back because we ordered him a jersey number. If that is true, that report.
Yeah, I'd gladly take him. Um, I think it's got to be Coach Cal. It's got to be the reason we're not getting these people, because I think he had to have just promised that he's going to start these 5-star recruits. And when you're getting players from the transfer portal, usually they're coming in search of a better opportunity. And I don't think many of these top names are wanting to come play a backseat role or come off the bench, which is kind of what Cal's wanting, because he wants these 5-star recruits to be starters.
Yeah, and I know another thing that I think would probably what's hurt is for some reason Cal. I feel like Cal isn't giving up that much money. I don't know if he gave a lot up to these freshmen, but I don't like. I just feel like he's not offering a lot of money because I mean, like, if he gave the money to Hunter Dickinson's wearing blue right now. Our blue, Kentucky blue, not Kansas blue. I think like I just feel like there's a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much. Like, I know he just started that new thing, the La Femme. You know the thing. He just started that. It's an NIL thing, and I know even former players, Devin Booker. They said they would give money towards the NIL if because it doesn't hurt them at all because they're so wealthy. But like, it is good to see like former Kentucky players, to give money for NIL to help Kentucky get recruits. But yeah, it's just it's frustrating to see that Kentucky hasn't got any good grad transfers, considering that's what we've done in the past couple of years, and that's kind of how we've gotten some of our best players. Looking back at like Reed Travis, Nate Sestina, and then there was even Antonio Reeves, like all these good players that have been really good for us were from grad transfers, and we gave them some money, and that's why they decided to come. But we have not done that this offseason.
Yeah, it's just the new impact that NIL has made has completely changed the direction of college basketball. People go somewhere not because they like the fit, because they like the money. Um, so I can't really blame Coach Cal. I think that would be not setting a very good example, um, if you're just paying the most money to players and not getting the actual guys that want to play for fit and want to play for the team, like for team's sake. So yeah, I can't really blame him.
Yeah, and so now I'm done talking about this because I'm glad we talked about this first. So let's go ahead and talk about Cincinnati and Cincinnati Reds. That'll give me a little bit more energy. The Cincinnati Reds, they are on a 9-game win streak right now. Like, last time that was done was in 2012, and that's when we went into the postseason, like, and won a playoff game. So that has been a while, and that was Brandon Phillips, the glory days. Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, all those guys. Um, it is good to be back winning in the winning column for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, things are looking good, man. The Reds are must-watch TV right now, and I don't know if I've ever been able to say that. Not in the last 8 years, at least. Um, Maybe when we had Derek Dietrich for a little bit, we were some must-watch TV. He was pretty fun, but this lineup is just so strong. Can you kind of talk about that order a little bit?
Yeah, so I like their new thing. I've already said this before, but I like the America's team. They're taking on the Cowboys role in MLB. They're saying they're America's team. But yeah, so what I think is just absolutely crazy. I mean, you have so many hitters that like I was listening to a press conference last night. They are literally the next man up mentality. Like someone gets hurt, okay, it's next man up. Let's go. And Joey Votto said it the best when he came up to bat last night. He was literally just saying, like I can't let these guys down. Like I feel like the rookie now. Like coming into this team, from the past 10 years, the past 10 years have been bad, and he was saying like this team now is like a whole new team. So he feels like he's the rookie coming up from AAA like he has, and he says when I come up, I don't want to underperform because like if I underperform, I'll lose my spot, especially
Mm.
with his age, with all the talent. We have Spencer Steer who can play first base. We got Christian Encarnacio Strand who can play first base. You got Kevin Newman that can play first. Tyler Stevenson can play first. You got a lot of guys that can play first, and with Joey Votto coming back, that obviously helped. But like, there's just so much talent on this team. Obviously, we've talked about De La Cruz a lot, Matt McClain a lot, but it's just everybody's contributing. Everybody.
Yeah, well, just the batting order is crazy. Like, what is Tyler Stevenson batting?
Yeah,
Like,
Tyler Stevenson's batting eighth,
yeah,
and he was a on base percentage of like 340 last year. And I mean, as a catcher, that's really good for a catcher. Obviously, most catchers don't even bat over 300,
hmm
not even 280. And so if you look at the average catcher, they're probably batting what 260.
260 is pretty good for a catcher, I think. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
most catchers are batting like 240.
yeah. And so for the Reds to have a guy that was like Stevenson batting 290, 280, right now he's only batting like 240, 250. But like his past 3 years, he's been batting 280, 290.
Yeah,
And for him to be batting eight, I mean, that's insane. And
yeah. A hitter of his caliber is usually in the meat of the order somewhere. So I'm sure that's scary for pitchers. Just you never really get a break with this team. Every hitter that comes up is a great talent in the box.
yeah, and then we still don't even have our best. We don't even have our best roster yet. I mean, you still got Will Myers that's on the injured list, and we still got Encarnacio Strand, which he's batting 330 at the Louisville Bat. So I don't know why he's not called up yet, but I don't. I think it's just a matter of time where if someone gets hurt. But I just think this Reds team is just like you said, must watch TV. Um, pitching. We had some pitching news. Hunter Green did go on the disabled list for 15 days. He did have a hip soreness, I think it was. So hopefully our bats can stay active. But and with Ladola already out too, so we are down pitchers. But hopefully this Reds just keep their mentality, next man up.
Yeah, like you said, Christian Encarnacion Strand. I wish they'd call him up. He's batting like 350 in the minors. But yeah, the Reds, they're so deep, which makes me think that we've got to be active at the upcoming trade deadline. Deadline, right? I mean, you got like Reese Hines is killing it. In Double A, you got Noel V. Marte, who's
Marte.
been playing really well. You got so many prospects, and I'm not just sure if the future we have room for all of them. So I think we could possibly see some prospects or some current starters shipped out. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see what we do with the trade deadline. I think we will definitely be active.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think, like I said, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think it is a must. I think it's a must to go get a pitcher. I think we need to go get a starting pitcher from the trade deadline. And like you said, I don't think it'll hurt. It won't hurt trading a guy that's pretty good. Like maybe I don't really want to get rid of Marte because like he's young and he's like a top prospect. But maybe it runs through your mind for that Edwin Ario, like who's another top prospect. Because we have such a crowded shortstop. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe you look down the road and you just trade one of those top shortstop prospects. But Yeah, I don't know. This Reds team, it is just with Andrew Abbott. Andrew Abbott he's pitched 3 games. He hasn't allowed a run. I mean, I don't even know when the last time that happened. I'd like to know that. And he's going 6 innings, 6, 7 innings. That's insane. And he's not even a high strikeout guy. He's just pitch to contact, let the defense make the plays. He just has good pitch placement. I mean, this Reds. I can't even know I don't know when to stop. This
Yeah.
Reds team is just insane.
I think they have good problems, you could say.
Oh yeah,
When you have too many players or too many good prospects, I think that's definitely a good problem to have. Um, it's like if you had 3 good quarterbacks in the NFL. Like
mm-hmm.
obviously you want to keep the best talent around, but if you can move one of those guys, keep 2 of your good quarterbacks and build a better team around them. Kind of the same thing for baseball. If you can get rid of those prospects and get a deeper bullpen or get a better starting rotation, I think that could be worth it for sure, and especially in the long run. Looking at the future of this team and what they could be, making runs towards the playoffs, hopefully.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna jump ship as sticking with MLB, but my Yankees get back Harrison Bader today, so that is big news for the Yankees. And also, I also want to talk about Luis Arias, I think is how you pronounce his name. That dude is today's day and age Tony Gwynn right now. I mean, he is just a hitting machine. He went 5 for 5 again, and he's batting over 400. I don't know when the last time a player did that at this late in the season.
Yeah, he's seeing an absolute beach ball up there in the box. Just pure contact hitter. He doesn't hit for that much power, but man, this guy just finds a way to get the bat on the ball, find every gap he can. He's almost impossible to get out. He gets on base 2 or 3 times every game. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then it's like one of those things. Like I can't believe Minnesota Twins let him go. I think like that's rare to find. Like a guy like that. Like that is like he has like Joey Votto prime vision and Tony Gwynn hitting right now. Like it is like insane. And I one thing about Luis Arias too is like he doesn't like you said he doesn't hit home runs. Like yeah, he hit a home run the other day, but like he's like Ichiro Suzuki, and like it is just insane. He can find holes like that. Like they're not hit. He's not hitting bombs that are going off the fence or over the fence. These are finding gaps, and it's so that I feel like that's skill hitting, and that is very hard to do in the MLB with how hard people throw these days.
Yeah, it's an underappreciated thing for sure. Like so many guys in the MLB now, strikeouts and home runs is basically what it is. And you kind of get a little throwback player with Arias, who's just a guy that plays the simple small ball game, finds the hits where he can, takes the ball where the pitcher gives it to him.
I would say he is the under the radar guy right now because right now it's been all you see on like sports shows is like you see Otani obviously who's favored to win MVP in the AL, and then you got Acuna who's favored to win in the NL. That's all you're really seeing right now is just those 2 guys. Yes, they touch on the 5 for 5 appearances, but like he's been doing this for a long time. He's been doing it all season. I think he has 2, 3, 5 for 5 games that's already this year, and we're not even halfway. So yeah, Luis Arias is a bad dude.
All right, that brings us to today's game. We're going to do another back and forth draft. I kind of like that style. But we're going to do a little something that is not sports related again. We tried that out last week and we think it went well, so we're going to do some more of that. We're going to be doing a stores draft. You understand the rules and ready to get into it?
Think I'm good.
I had the first pick in the NBA thing, so I'll give you the first pick for this.
Okay. First pick, I'm gonna go. Out of all the stores, what do I go into? It's just like like I can buy something every time I go there, and that's Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's Sporting Goods is my number one. Every time I go to that store, I can find something I want to buy. Whether it be for my basketball related or if it's just weightlifting, anything, golf, anything I do, I can find some. I could buy a football there, and I don't even play football.
Yeah. That was what my number one was. I was hoping you'd let it slip to me. But yeah, Dick's is probably the best store for just like you can go in there with your friends, goof around. It's huge in there.
Yeah, it's huge.
you haven't thrown a football or tried to dunk the basketball in Dick's Sporting Goods, what have you been doing with your life?
Exactly.
Such a fun store. I always like looking at like they always have like the little models of the people trying on the football
Yeah.
uniforms and stuff. I don't know, it's just such a cool store to me.
I
That
say
that was my 101.
it always sucked when they had the like little plastics over the basketball goals. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You'd always shoot it next. I remember I got a ball stuck up on that little thing. Ah,
Such a
good
good store though.
good time. Who's your number one?
Uh, I guess I have to try to kind of counteract that if I can. I'm gonna go with Bass Pro. It's kind of similar to Dick's. Kind of just a fun store to look around at. They have like the pond, all the fishing gear. Go up like in the one we have here. It's huge. It's so much room to run around. They got like snacks. They have a restaurant in some of them. I don't know. It's just a really fun place. I like looking at the fish.
That was
Bass Pro.
that was a really good pick because I didn't even have that written down. I didn't even think of it. That is actually a really good pick. That would definitely be my top five. Like when I go to Bass Pro, it's like there's a good scenery. Like obviously that's what they're meant for. But like the fish, the boats. I just think it's everything. I like it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
I've
pick.
never had a bad experience at Bass Pro.
And then so my number two is um, one of my actually like I feel like it's one of the most underrated. I go so we have one here. It's both because they're tied together. Walmart and Sam's Club. Walmart and Sam's Club. I feel like I could go in there. It's kind of the same thing as Dick's. I can go in there and definitely I'd come out with something every single time. And Walmart, if you were a kid and you went to Walmart and you didn't play like tag or something in Walmart, I mean, I don't know where your childhood was.
Yeah.
So, and especially growing up, they had like the fish in the back. I mean, and then Sam's Club. Sam's Club is just a even bigger Walmart, so it's even better. So I love Walmart and Sam's Club. So that's Sam's Club is my number two.
I'm gonna try to match that again. I'm gonna go with Costco. Just for the reason that they have so many things in there, like the free samples. That's obviously great. I love free samples, but like the things that come in such large portions, you like walk in there and you're like, oh, I didn't know I needed that. You like walk in there, kind of window shopping, just looking around, and you come home with $300 worth of stuff. Like oh, a 7 pound jar of cheese dip. Yeah, of course I need that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it's only $5. I don't know. I think Costco kind of matches your pick there.
Yeah, that is a good pick. I've actually never been to Costco.
Really,
Never been to Costco.
it's quite an experience.
So my number three, I'm gonna go Best Buy. Best Buy, I think, is a very underrated. I was gonna pick it at two, but it's more of a drive than Walmart, so that's why I put it at three. And so is Dick's, but I don't know. I just think Dick's is better than Walmart. But yes, three is Best Buy. Best Buy is one of those things. It is just like you walk in there, you just feel like a guru. I mean, you just feel like a nerd guru looking at everything
Well,
on
their staff's called the Geek Squad.
Geek Squad.
Talk
Yeah,
about a good staff. They know their stuff. You got a lot
exactly.
of computer nerds in there, which is a good thing because I don't know anything about computers. They're so informative. They're always nice.
Hmm.
And if you've ever been Black Friday shopping in a Best Buy, that's a wild time. I got in almost a fight over a TV once. But that's a story for another day.
That's speaking of WWE. That's WWE right there.
So is a third pick right?
Yep.
All right, back to me. Um, I don't know if this really counts as a store, but I'm thinking of like when I go to the mall. I usually go to the mall if I go shopping. I don't really just go to one store. And this is a place I have to stop by every time. Auntie Anne's.
Anti-hands.
Oh man, I've gained a couple pounds because of that place. I'll say that smells so good. Like, what are you doing if you haven't gotten a cookie from there, or like a cinnamon roll, some of their other treats that I can't think of at the moment, but I love Auntie Anne's.
Like honestly, Auntie Anne's like the thing about Auntie Anne's is when you like it almost smells better than it tastes.
Yeah.
It like you walk through the mall, the one here, you walk through the mall, it's like holy cow, like
Hmm.
that is like like you can't smell nothing even better than that. Like that is like wow. And then they said, and then you eat it, it's still very good, but it's not as it doesn't taste as good as the smell. The smell is absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
And that was three, right?
Yes.
So number four, I'm actually gonna go. So a little bit different store. We have one here as well. I'm gonna go Lowe's. I like Lowe's. Lowe's is a good store for, I mean, outdoor stuff, and it's also a big store. I remember, so Lowe's has a section in the at our Lowe's where they have carpets, And I used to run it up and down the carpets all the time, and that was always a fun experience. So give me Lowe's. Lowe's is a good pick, I think.
I like Lowe's. My number 4 pick, I'm gonna take the place that I get the majority of my clothes from. That's J.C. Penney, which is usually another mall store, but I feel like it's really cheap in there. They always have really nice clothes, in my opinion. They might not be in style for that long, and they might not last that long. But out of all the clothing stores, that's probably the one I went to the most. So I have to give them credit and take them off the board with my 4th pick.
Yeah, that is a good pick. J.C. Penney was in here in Madison. That was can't believe they left. Um, so now we're on to five. So five, final one. So I have a couple still available that I can pick, and hmm, I'm gonna go a cheaper route, and I'm gonna go Dollar Tree. I think
Hmm,
Dollar Tree is
great
a
pick.
underrated store. You know, if you need walk in there and get something cheap, I think it is a very convenient store. Like if you let's say you're having a fantasy football draft and you need to go get tablecloths, you need to go
Yeah.
like plates, cups, like everything. Just it's $1, so I just think that is an easy pick for me. I definitely go. I make a stop there very quite often
Yeah,
throughout
we're
the year.
college students. I mean, not
Exactly,
many places are like that where you can just really kind of ball on a budget, spend, $20 and get 15, 20 different items. So,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
great place. My last pick, I'm gonna go with Target, I think. Target's a really, really good store. Usually they have like a Starbucks in there. They have consoles, clothes. It's kind of like a mixture of like all kinds of different stores, like a mixture between Best Buy, like a Walmart. It's just I don't know. It has everything. You can't go wrong going to Target. That's my 5.
Okay, and so did we mention that we're doing an overrated for one pick? I don't know if we mentioned
No, I
that.
didn't. But yeah, what is a store that you think is overrated?
So we're gonna do one, right? Just one.
Yeah,
So one overrated store I think is any auto part shop. I mean,
auto part shop.
I just feel like you could say AutoZone, O'Reilly's. Like, I mean, you walk in there, I just feel like I'm out of place. This is not my. It's that just doesn't fit me. I'm not a car guru. I don't know nothing about
Mhm.
cars. But when I walk in there, I just feel like you go in there and it's just like you sit there because you're usually waiting for something. I feel like you're usually waiting for something. Even like I don't know. It's just this is not my thing. And yeah, no, no auto parts stores. No,
That O'Reilly Auto Parts theme song though.
it does
That's
hit,
that's
but
good.
that hits, but nothing else in the store.
My pick for an overrated store is a place I've never had a good experience. Foot Locker. I'm I used to be kind of a sneakerhead, not really anymore. But I feel like every time I go in there, like I'm kind of confused why the staff is wearing referee uniforms and like blowing whistles. I feel like everything in there is so expensive, whether it's socks or shoes. They never have my size anytime I've ever been in there. So they're overrated in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. They are so expensive. I mean, so expensive. I remember there was a time I just went in there a couple months ago. I walked in there, they had these shoes like $40. And I was like, holy cow. Next thing you know, you go up there, they have one size in stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, that's why it's $40. Yeah, they have nothing in stock, overpriced, and they wear referee t-shirts for their workers. It's like, yeah, yeah,
Not a good environment.
and not a good environment at all.
So yeah, that's all for today's game. I think that brings us to our final words. Um, thank you guys for watching and listening to this episode. What do you have to say, Carson?
Some final words is hmm, hmm. final words. I'm gonna say Pacers trade their pick, and Zion Williamson looks really good in Indiana blue and yellow.
A man can only dream. I wish that happened. I'm gonna start it, or I'm gonna end it with the Reds, like I have been lately. I'm gonna say Votto still bangs. Ellie De La Cruz is the fastest man on the planet. Yeah, World Series runs through Cincinnati. What can I say? That's all I got. Thank you guys for watching.
Peace.